you have a problem. You're gonna have a problem with even how to speak to people and talk to people because people not accepting you, right? Like it's gonna be crazy.
Man,
It's
that's
gonna
such
Yeah.
be
a
crazy.
good point because you don't match your avatar. Well, most people
Yeah,
don't.
yeah. No, they ain't gonna match the avatar. You,
That's
you, you,
I
you,
didn't
you-
think of it. I didn't think of that like that.
your
But
avatar running around, right? And you in a wheelchair when you go out in the real
right,
world.
right.
The Matrix for real.
Welcome to the We Got Problems podcast with co-hosts Curtis G. Martin, Rhonda L Brown, and Caliph Johnson Sr. The one and only podcast where solutions get discussed to our community's everyday troubles. Each week, you will hear mind-blowing conversations and actionable tips and strategies that you can implement in your daily life to become more effective. We got problems and we got solutions.
All right, you guys, welcome to the show. This is We Got Problems, the podcast where we discuss solutions. I'm Curtis G. Martin. I'm here with my co-host, Rhonda L Brown,
Hey, everybody.
Caliph Johnson Sr.,
Peace, y'all. How y'all doing?
and Lashika Phillips.
Hey, everybody.
And today we're going to be talking about Meta. So states are suing Meta, claiming its social platforms are addictive and harmful to children's mental health. What do you think, Rhonda?
So there's often a concern about mental health, but do we actually think that social media is the root cause of these issues?
No. Absolutely not. I think as a parent, we have to take some accountability. We have to be responsible of what our children are doing, just like it's up to us to make sure that we are checking our children's homework, that they are doing what they need to do for required classes for school or whatever the case is. It's the same thing that we have to do in terms of their involvement or their activity with social media, with AI. So I don't think that social media is the blame. Like it should get 100% blame. Like my question is, where are the parents?
Yep.
And it in any situation, you gotta have a combination. You know what I mean? When you have parenting and you have anything new, be it technology, be it a new vehicle, be it a new hobby, just whatever it might come up. And right now the question is social media. And like you said, where are the parents? Because if you don't have parents guiding your child into anything that they're doing, I think you run a very good risk of something going a bit haywire with them.
For
Hmm.
sure. And that's what anything I know growing up. I mean, when I think about it, we couldn't do anything without our parents' permission. Why are you opening the refrigerator? Why are you
Hmm.
coming to the kitchen with grown people? What? It's just like we were being checked. Even the latchkey, the latchkey kids. The parents
Hmm.
were at home, parents were working, and we had to get the key and let ourselves in off the school bus. Even then,
Hmm.
they were checking and watching us. Miss So and so down the street said, she "Saw you outside. You need what are y'all doing?" So it's a level of parenting that's we've kind of gotten lax. I don't know what y'all think.
But see, it's important what you just said. It's a level of it. And you said
Okay.
it's parenting is a level, but we also had a level of community. Like you said, when you went down the street, we had a whole neighborhood of people that were concerned about every child that went through there. And when you had a community that a child grow up in and the child grow up representing this community with pride, you have a better chance of that kid going out there and getting something productive out. But when you have influences like social media, you also have the risk of the outside world, not just your local community, affecting your child and your child's image and how they feel about themselves. So social media, like, it's a huge caveat because you can say you can want to give it to them because that's what everybody else is doing, but if you don't monitor what you're giving to them, you run a very high risk of a young mind being influenced in a way you can't really do much about.
Yeah,
So
I
true.
think so too. I like what you said, Trash. You said what they taking in, right? Like um if they're looking at stuff to where it's not beneficial to the lifestyle that they should be living, then they're gonna take in some girl saying that she got lipstick called Doodoo Brown. She got lipstick, so that's what they taking in, and then when they trying to live up to that and can't, then it causes issues. Right
Yeah.
now, they're not keeping up with what society is going on around them. Right, like
Mhm.
I was just telling my daughter today, she got on lip gloss, and I asked her what it is. She's like, "Oh, it's lip gloss. Oh, it's just like chapstick." Baby, don't tell me it's just like chapstick. I know what lip gloss is, right? Right? Like, just know, don't let it graduate to makeup. You're beautiful just like you are, right? Like, are they getting that type of stuff and thinking that they have to keep up with what's going on outside of them?
I think
See,
that is the issue. Oh yeah, what were we gonna say? Yeah.
no, because now as they progress into becoming young ladies, they have different events that they become a part of, and it requires them to be in performance. So my daughter has to have a certain makeup palette to be on, to be out there as a performance for the parades and stuff go. So it's a requirement to be in the makeup. So to a certain extent, and I've always encouraged my daughter on how beautiful naturally she is, but it's a careful balance of not letting them not be able to feel what normal growing up is, but also still in re-encouraging the natural beauty that we know they need instilled into them from a father.
That's such a great point because when we think about our community, and Black families and how social media can impact or is impacting, our youth, like I can think of several different representations that I think are negatively impacting, our specifically our community. You talked about some chapstick, or no, I think you said lip gloss. It was like doo brown or whatever it was. So, but there's so many other different images, right? Because I think of colorism. I think of how, and not just that, not just images that way, but even fun jokes as the different memes come across. They're actually telling messages to children, some underlying message, even though it may be funny, it may be, hilarious or whatever, but there could be an underlying message about identity, about colorism that I think that, again, it goes back to who's monitoring these children and their activity with technology.
And what you're teaching your children before they get to the technology. Because if they're looking at these Instagram models or people getting BBLs or lip injections, and you haven't taught them that, hey, that just because they're doing, you don't need to do that. If you haven't instilled in them a sense of self-worth before they even get on social media, that's even more of a problem.
Can I say something to that?
Mhm.
Because like with my kids growing up, my daughter being she came into the height of the iBabies. Like she was born with an iPad in her hand because we were able to take the lessons out now and we can go outside and still learn. But she had like a handheld device and she could remember. And it was just a natural thing for her at her age to always have had an electronic device. And that's just a different era of kids that we're dealing with. So what I let her get exposed to as far as social media goes, like most kids get sprung out on it. They start watching little kid TikToks and you know what I mean? Then it's a snowball effect. But as parents, you still have to monitor it. But the way it affects them image wise, it's a terrible thing. Like you said, Sheik, it goes back to parenting. Kurt, it goes back to what you said, the image that you have implanted in their head already about your naturally beauty. You don't have to go through makeup to be beautiful, or you know what I mean, or some other false sense of pride in your imagery. And even Rhonda, what you said, the BBLs and what you guys, some young girls doing, thinking like that's the way to go as far as beauty. Our beauty is natural when we embrace ourselves, but that comes from something that the parents teach from within, and it ain't some stuff they're gonna get off the internet.
Sure, for sure. But I think it was either you trash. I think it's you. Um, every now and then you go through your child's somebody, I don't, maybe it wasn't you, but go through the feed or go through their account, just see like what they're doing. I think that is amazing. I think that that is what we should all be doing.
As parents, we if you paying for the bill, you're responsible for what goes out on that electronic
Right,
device.
right.
So if you're allowing a child that's under your roof to send out things in an electronic device and it goes out and affects your house negatively, you made your child a liability instead of an asset with this phone. Now, if they're doing something to build a social media platform to actually help them with their future and their career, then it becomes a lot. Becomes an asset. It depends on how you letting this child maneuver on this device. And my son, he's 16. I love him. I love him, but that boy, he's a young man, and I just always want him to be very aware of what is and isn't appropriate to go out on that device, because it'll leave you in a different situation if you're not careful.
Well, with that in mind, what unique impact does social media addiction have on Black youth? Do you think?
Oh wow. I think social media. No, we ain't gonna say social media. We'll just say media in itself. I think have a big impact on our community, like probably more than other communities, because we set the tone for what's cool. So when we set the tone for what's cool, then that's the standard for us being black. Now everybody else, they like it just because it's cool, right? But it's almost become the standard for us. You got even the bookworm kids want to be the cool kids, right? If tough is cool, right, then you got the good kids wanting to be tough, right? If kids out here wearing jewelry, then the other kids want jewelry, right? So when we're looking at rappers, when we're looking at TikToks and videos of all these people that's so-called influencers, I think everybody is influencers. Some people just have more of an influence than others or a bigger audience than others, but we all are influencers in some type of way. It's just who the kids gonna follow. Yeah, we trying to be just like them. So it plays a major part.
But that that's where, when you have influencers like you in our community, like, you have a positive role model for our kids to look up to, so your kids look at their parents and they don't have to go outside. It comes back to parenting. Like, when you have real good role models, that you work to be a good role model for your children, and then you portray that, and you go ahead and put your right foot forward, left foot behind it every day, and you walk that line, your kids see that consistency, they have a good image to go off of. And you don't just march for your kids, but you march for your community as well, because all the little boys that see you, they know that that's a positive brand. When they see you walking, you hold your head up high, you dress well, and they can get that imagery, and they ain't got to look at a negative influence like a rapper, or I can't even say the rappers, but just the imagery that's put into the media. And that's what most of our kids are subjected to follow.
Yeah, when you even look at if your mama wearing lots of jewelry, right? And your daddy wearing lots of jewelry, yeah, you gonna want the jewelry. It's very seldom that the kids say, "No, my mom and them used to do that. I just wasn't involved." You'll run across that every now and then, but most of the time, I want to be just like my daddy. I want to be just like my mama. Right? They know best. That's what I followed. Like we pick up those traits regardless because that's what we see. That's what we think is right.
Hmm.
So yeah, children see their parents glued to the phone and to the screen constantly on social media, and not just being on social media, but what they're portraying on social media. Kids see that as well. You're right. I mean, they will mimic that behavior. So, do y'all think that there should be an age limit? I think right now there is. I think it's what 13 or something, but
Hmm.
those aren't really regulated from what I can tell. But do you think that that would make any difference?
It definitely should be an age limit. So it shouldn't only be an age limit. It should be, like Trash said, go back to parenting, right? Like your kid should be able to be on the internet at 5. But now it's a whole nother atmosphere out there. You got the pedophile world that you got to worry about. You got what they're watching. I think it was called Slender Man at one time, that was telling kids to go murder people and commit suicide. It'll start off as a regular cartoon, and midway, Slender Man will come out and talk to them.
Oh wow.
And then Slender Man was telling them to go commit crimes or kill themselves or different stuff like that, right? So you got to worry about that. Like with me, I got control of my kids' phones, so they on my family plan. So I lock out anything I want to lock out. Then when they get home, I don't even have internet on their phone. So they're allowed to have internet at school. My daughter can have a phone, so she can have internet. The kids can't have internet at school on their phone, right? Because they elementary don't allow it, right? So when they get home, all of their devices connect, but I got time limits on it, and they got to request time, and then I can lock out that certain apps. I lock out YouTube at certain times, right? You get only a certain time on YouTube, so you got to have some type of control. They're your kids. Parenting got to step up, and we got to do something about it. Like, if we don't want them involved in certain things, then we have to be there to teach and mold and guide them.
Hmm. And I know there's kids that will still, because I know when I when I took my daughter's phone away, because they weren't allowed to have social media. But my youngest daughter got one anyway on somebody else's phone. So it's like, they will do things to get around, but you still have to stay on top of it.
Uh-huh.
Go
It's not.
searching, because they're not, they can block you on some things, but there's still a way to find out if your children have social media or not. You have to be
I,
diligent and stay on top of it.
I don't know. It's just about being very open with your kids and letting them have a reason why it is and isn't okay to do certain things, and why you make these rules in your household so you can do it for protection. And once the kids get on board and they understand protection, they really kind of maneuver safely on it. Like my son, he's an athlete, so you have to put yourself out there in a certain way for coaches. But as long as you ain't doing no goofy stuff, like you see kids on there flashing money, just putting up a horrible image. If a coach ever is to go back and watch your social media, this is
Mm.
the imagery that you have up online with your face in it, being tagged and different things. So, man, I thank the parents that I see go through right now, because I've seen some of the best fathers that I done seen in a long time. I've seen mothers really working to make situations work so the kids can get an understanding in their balance. And if you got parents that's doing a good job like that out here, it's a lot of good fathers stepping up. It's a lot of really, really phenomenal mothers that's been holding it down for a long time and making it look easy at this point. So with that said, yeah, I'm sorry.
You know,
So, do you think there's a benefit to social media, like especially for those who might feel isolated?
I mean, like for a child who may be an introvert, and
Hmm.
so yeah, maybe they need social media. I think that could be like a blessing and a curse, right? Because without supervision, it could go from something that can be a great tool to something that's being abused, or something that is a dependent of. You know what I mean? So like then we take. I'm so making this up, y'all. So we take little Johnny, who is the introvert. Nobody likes him at school, and so his parents say, "Well, little Johnny, let's sign you up for Instagram. Get you some friends." I'm so making this up, y'all. So little Johnny goes on to social media, gets his account and everything, and sure enough, his self-esteem is shoots up. He's feeling good about himself. He's got followers, people liking his pictures. And then one day, God forbid, he wears some high waters. Y'all, I'm so making this up. I don't even know where it's coming from. He wears some high waters to school, post a picture. Nobody likes the picture. That can start spiraling down. I don't know. I think yes, but I still think it's going to go back to supervision, monitoring, um, just an explanation of what we do, why we do what we do, and why we don't do those things. Like Trash was saying, it's not that it should be held down under lock and key, but some type of monitoring, some type of accountability there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that scenario with little Johnny helped.
No, that scenario is good because little Johnny comes shoot up the school now, right? So the mental health stage of it, right? So it could be
Right.
so me the benefits for me is them being able to maneuver through a space where entrepreneurs maneuver, right?
Yeah.
So I want them to be able to maneuver like entrepreneurs, not like consumers, not like um viral. Like we ain't on here for viral. We on here for entrepreneurship. We on here for business, right? Like I'm going through like my feed, my feed. I'm old enough to know my feed ain't looking good, right? Like I'm seeing the wrong stuff on my feed. Why? Cause of what I go look at, right? So if I go look at sports, now I got all this Lakers stuff on my feed. I can't go to Lakers on my feed no more, right? I want to go to stuff like stuff talking about insurance, stuff talking about business, stuff talking about credit. So when I get on, boom, that's what shows. Like I've been doing some stuff for my son. Now I got all sports, right? So now it's time for him to have a little account and then I monitor it, right? Teach him how
Mm-hmm.
to go, teach him how to post, teach him like it's all in the teachings. If we're
Mhm.
not teaching, then we losing, right? So we got to get the kids. I think it's a benefit. One reason I gave mine stuff early is because I didn't want them to be behind, right? We so behind in technology. You go to kids, yeah, they know how to get to TikTok, yeah, they know how to make a video, but they don't know how to go do something that's beneficial that'll feed them,
Mm.
right? Like they learning a dance, right? Like
Yeah.
my kids don't even like know dances. But one thing I think that we have to watch out for. And I don't use this for myself. I think I have an account. I think it's Snapchat to where whatever you put out there, it disappears and nobody get to see it again. That's
Mm-hmm.
horrible. That's
Yeah.
horrible because your kid can actually be saying some way out stuff or either seeing some way out stuff and you don't you have no traces of it. Right. So that's the bad part, but it can be beneficial. It's a gift and a curse to all this. Right.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm.
You know what's interesting though is when you look at the lawsuit, Snapchat and TikTok are not a part of the lawsuit. It's only Meta, not Twitter, not fill in the blank with any other social media platform. I thought that was pretty alarming. You know, like why isn't Snapchat for the reason that you just mentioned, Curtis? Because that's it could be proof of so many different wrong things, but it goes away, like you said, in 24 hours. That seems to be more damaging than some of the features on, let's say, Facebook.
But
I
we had the same thing on Instagram and Facebook. It's in your stories.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. The little snap go up for a little bit and then it disappear, whatever you want to see, and then it disappear in
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
24 hours.
Yeah, stories is like that, but most people, you know, when you look at it, most people make a post and then that post is still somewhere, right?
Um,
Like that post is shared on a story, and sometimes you share just the stories only, and then those will disappear. So I get it, but I don't know. It's a lot to look out for. It's a lot to watch. When like Lashika talked about with the lawsuit, you know, anybody can be sued nowadays. So I think now people look at like, okay, let's just get on the bandwagon of suing, right? Like let me go inside of Wendy's. They ain't got for this hot coffee yet. They got McDonald's, but they ain't got Wendy's on the hot coffee. Hey, Wendy's, your coffee too hot. Right here in LA, they had a guy in a wheelchair going around asking to use the bathroom when it wasn't accessible for him. Boom, his lawsuit was jumping off.
wow.
And he was getting them. He was getting them to where finally they were watching him. And whenever he messed up, then he was getting arrested. So it kind of slowed him down, right? Like the law went after him for going after the law almost, right? But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
no, it's people out here that's gonna sue for anything, right? So if your kid, so say if I'm selling apples and I say, hey, watch out for the stem, and your kid choke on the stem, right? Like you gonna come sue me when we said look out for the stem. You knew you should have took the stem off for the kids, or what? I'm making up some crazy shit, but I'm just
Right.
saying like we sue for anything nowadays. So I don't really hold a lawsuit with no weight because
Yeah.
there it could be your diet that's calling these kids to have some some mental issues, right? Like it could be you missing a nutrient, right? That you malnourished on some nutrients, and then that's what's causing it, right? Now that when you see other kids, you're not happy because your nutrients is off, your body balance is off, and then now you seeing some stuff, but you blaming it only on the seeing.
Right. And it could be, it goes right back to parenting again. If parents are not giving children attention, if they're just like, here, you go do this and hand them some electronic, you don't know what's going on in their mind. They want attention from you, but they're getting attention online.
Mhm.
And that could be the problem sometimes. Sometimes kids don't have enough connection with their family, and they depend on that outside connection so much that it surpasses what the discipline in their household is. Because you didn't
Oh,
see countless times where a little girl then thought that being at a party was more important than what their parents told them to be in the house by. So it's a problem, it's an issue, but it's so important for them socially to be at that party. And you got to think back in the days, you didn't find out about something until the next day in the newspaper if something went wrong, or unless you had somebody who called your phone late night and gave you an update. Now they got social media. The moment it happened, it's like it's up on the news, it's up on social media, and then everything is instantly accessed when you have a camera at everybody's hand. So it's a different level of information. So we're not living in the 1980s when it took a time in the early 90s before social media was really a thing, that if somebody got into a fight, that the same night it's on everybody's phone and everybody across town know about that one fight. It's a different little mentality that you're dealing with these kids nowadays. And so when you ask these companies to be responsible for them, what exactly are you asking them to do as far as being responsible, and before you sue them and try and get a profit off of it, what are you asking these companies to do?
great question.
Yeah.
Because
So,
they are suing for financial. No, it is. You're absolutely right. It's not just a lawsuit just for the sake of a lawsuit. They are seeking financial damages. Yeah. Yeah, pretty interesting stuff.
mhm. So looking ahead, like emerging tech is bound to change the digital landscape even further. How do we anticipate things like VR, metaverse, AI, how that might impact your mental health?
Uh-oh.
It
It's to a
can.
point.
Yeah, go
It,
ahead.
It can, but it's to a point where they're making it like, if you see the new VR, they're incorporating it with the actual real world. So it's like you're building on top of the real world. So that's the next stage of this virtual reality. And like, if you've ever been in a VR set, and you've ever communicated online, they're making it to a point where the kids don't have to go outside. Like,
Yeah.
and when you're making it to the point where you're keeping the kids inside. One of the lawsuits was about, it was the biggest lawsuit ever, that they had to send out for the kids not being false advertised to, so the kids can think that they weren't getting what they wanted, so they can buy it over and over again, and they couldn't cancel. They like hit the cancel button. It was like a huge lawsuit that went out for all of those Fortnite kids. Like, they had billions and billions of dollars that they were doing practices that were unlawful to children to actually get more money. And these parents were responsible for these massive bills for buying skins and things like that for these kids on Fortnite. And then they came back and they sued the company. They had made so much money, this lawsuit was nothing by that time.
But that's an issue to put your credit card in and give your kids just access to go crazy and wonder why what happened. My daughter bought a bear at Disneyland that I didn't approve of. Dude, she don't have her credit card no more. It ain't gonna be 10 bears, 20 bears. You know what I'm talking about? Like at what point do you step in and make sure your kid is being responsible?
It's so true. Wait a
Right?
minute. I'm sorry, I have to ask. When she get the card back?
She haven't gotten it back. It's been almost a month and something.
Oh,
So
okay.
so so um I'm gonna give it back to her because it's gonna be one of them times where where they going somewhere and she probably gonna really need it.
Yeah.
Like then she got to learn to keep it. Like my son, he good with his. He'll hit me up. Hey, daddy, can I use my card? What you trying to buy? No, you can't use it. Okay, cool. And he going about his business. Or I say, go ahead, yeah, buy you something to eat, buy your sister something to eat. Boom, he do it. Like he got it. My other daughter, she can care less, card or not. She, you gonna buy it for me regardless. That's the way she but yeah, no. So the two that really like the card, one of them don't have hers back, and then my son, he been had his for a year or two now. Like he good with his.
See,
My daughter,
accountability though, right?
Mhm.
Yep, yep.
yeah, the girl funny. She don't take her card out at all. The boy, he always got his out, and he'd tell me, "Oh, I just sent you the money." He had the money somewhere else, and he'd just send it to me later. I'm like, okay, I can't be mad. He doesn't buy anything outrageous with it, so he only uses it when he can't get access to his cash. Sometimes it'd be a quick situation like that, and he'll run it back to me. So I compliment the kids. They real responsible
Hey,
about doing it.
so back to the VR stuff though. You know, Trash said they're gonna make it to where the kids can go outside. That's where the problem gonna be when they like. I think VR itself ain't gonna be a problem because they can be who they want to be, long as they have this face piece on.
But
Then
that
when
could
they
be a
go,
question too.
no,
That could be a question too.
once they go back out in the world,
Mm.
and then now you're not who you are in there. People don't recognize you. You upset. You have a problem. You're gonna have a problem with even how to speak to people and talk to people
Mhm.
because people not accepting you, right? Like it's gonna be crazy.
Man,
It's
that's
gonna
Yeah.
such
be
a
crazy.
good point because you don't match your avatar. Well, most people
Yeah,
don't.
yeah. No, they ain't gonna match the avatar.
That's
You, you, you,
I
you,
didn't
you,
think of it. I didn't think of that like that. But
your avatar running around, right? And you in a wheelchair when you go out in the
right,
real world.
right.
The Matrix for real.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously, it is. It
You
really
design
does
yourself
have
how
a
you see
damaging
yourself.
effect. But I think it again it goes back to not just parents, but mentors, adults that are around the children, teachers to be using AI and technology for students. Explain why you're doing things a certain way, why you are um, communicate why you're being responsible with certain tools and why you are doing, like I said, what you're doing, just so that children are aware and they have that knowledge. But yeah, I just see it expanding even more so because even with AI, and it's wild because y'all know we did this workshop together, and of all the questions, do y'all remember this guy raised his hand?
What's gonna
Like,
keep my son?
yeah, what about my son? It's gonna make him it's gonna make him stupid or make him not creative. And I'm just like,
uh, how
just
you gonna
It's
guarantee me my son gonna?
yeah. It was one of the first things when I saw the lawsuit, I instantly thought of that exchange and I thought, wow, I mean it can totally happen. So what next? They're gonna be suing OpenAI because now my child can't write an essay or can't complete a sentence, because it's relying on this. My child is addicted to Chat GPT. Like what's next?
hey, that's gonna be a real thing. Think about it. Like when they actually get you hooked on the technology and then they cut all the power off.
Ooh, hi, my
Yeah,
name is Lashika and I'm a Chat GPT aholic. Like what?
yeah, no. I'm gonna tell you this. Um, it actually really like I don't know about y'all, but for me, it's been making me smarter.
Mhm.
Yes,
It's
if
been making me
you use
smarter.
it right.
I'm gonna tell you this because I've been using Grammarly for a long time, right?
Okay.
And I don't know where to put my commas and all of that stuff, but now I know most of the time I like, oh, that's gonna need a comma right here when I go and this or
Yes.
after you know what I'm talking about? So I need to start another sentence here, right? Like I need to start another paragraph here because I'm talking about something else, right? Like so it actually makes you smarter if you're paying attention,
Yes.
right?
Mhm.
Like so something I seen years ago, totally off topic, but it makes sense to what I'm gonna say. Um, Lowriders been around for years, right? With hydraulics in them. I
Mm-hmm.
knew one time Chinese was buying lowriders for 80, 90,000, and people was making them and trying to sell them really quick. And then at some point they stopped buying them, right? They decided when they reverse engineered that process, we don't even want to do this. They came up with airbags. and they put airbags on cars that did the same thing. Not as cool as the lowriders, but it did the same exact thing, right? So if you're gonna reverse engineer something, I'm reverse engineering as I use these tools,
Mm-hmm.
right? I'm learning why did they do this and why did it structure like this. So I'm learning, right? Like you could, like I go in AI and put a policy, tell it to write me a policy and procedure. Okay, you know what? I see the policies just like this. It put the purpose, it put the objective, it put the right. So I'm learning the way that should be structured.
Exactly.
Right. So if you just saying, hey, do this, you're not learning.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Because you got you being lazy and it's just doing work for you. I
Mhm.
need to know why it did this. Like now I need to verify like this is real. Like it's a process to go with it, and you learn in that process, right? But
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Yeah. So before we wrap up, here's something to ponder.
Uh-oh.
If if we limit social media or alter its usage, are we addressing the root problem, or are we just containing issues temporarily, potentially leading to other outlets or even resentment?
I've seen the I've seen the downside of taking phones away. I've seen the downsides of having too much phone accessibility. So it comes back to how are you monitoring your kids and what's your healthy balance? Is the phone or the electronic raising your kid to the point where now you don't have to hear from them? Or are you actually to the point where if I don't hear from them, it's a problem because you been gone for too long and now you just kind of like in la la land with this device in front of you. So it becomes on how important it is to you as a parent for letting your kids fall into these devices. If it's important to let your kid go, let them go. And you don't want to be the parent, that's cool. But if you really care about your kids, their screen time is going to be down, and you're gonna make sure they have something physical in front of them, actually learning physically still, and that's just what a parent is doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that I don't think that necessarily limiting social media access that um I mean, I could see it. I think with all things, a gift and a curse, right? Because I think that that could be a great opportunity to show the child or demonstrate that there are other things that you can be doing with your time, whether it's reading a book, looking at something else on the internet, not maybe not necessarily social media, experimenting with something else, learning about another hobby, getting involved with some type of physical activity, or some type of group or some type of club. I think that those really could be great ways, and not just, I would say, an alternative to just social media outlet, just another outlet for a way to be social. I think so. Parents are looking for ways that, yeah, I do want to kind of limit my children on social media. I think it's going to be important to replace it with something that is just as intriguing, so that they will be engaged, so that they will be, interactive with whatever the activity or thing that is. And it could be start a business. You really want social media, you want to be on social media like that. A good case for you to have social media, have a business. Do you own a business? Okay. Start a business and we can look at expanding your social media use. It could be some incentives around that too. So I don't know. I think again, I think it's come to a balance. I think there is a such thing as parental accountability as well. So I don't know, just my 2 cents about that.
yeah, no, we us as parents got to be involved. Like I already know, like if I wake the kids up and when I'm super tired, I go search the bed. They had a device last night because they too tired. They went to bed early enough, right? I put them in the bed early enough. So with so many devices, that's why I had to get software that'll cut devices off, right?
What
And
software do you use? Can you share with the folks
uh,
what you use, just so parents can be aware?
so I have a network that's called Eero, I think it is
Okay.
EERO, And so Trash actually hooked me to the process. I don't know if that's the same one he have, but it's I got network downstairs, network in one side of the room upstairs, another side of the room in the garage. So now wherever we move, my device connects and it stays connected for good connectivity. But also it gave me more control over, like, when a new device log onto my network. If you have the password or not, you cannot log in until I say your device is okay to get on my network.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to go in the app and let you in. And then I name that device. So if you double back again, I can always block you. Like, oh, this dude ain't even over my house, but he's somewhere outside on my internet. Right. And I can block you. Right. So say some kids' friends come over and I let them all on the internet. And then they ain't over today, but I see them all on the internet. That means they outside on my internet. They could be doing anything. So it's for security as well. I can block them off, right? So just limit it that way, right? And then doing social media with them, right?
Mhm.
What do you look at on social media to where your kids want to look at? Because they over your shoulder looking.
Mhm.
Like my kids, they have my wife passwords. And they get in her phone. Like they watch her every time, get in her passwords. They go right to her phone. I tell her, don't let them have your password. So when we limiting their access, they just go get your phone and get access to everything, right?
Mhm.
Which I told y'all, my son is the one that right now I trust the most with doing whatever, because he has my password and he will not pick my phone up. He will not, unless he'll ask, say, Daddy, can I use your phone to listen to some music? Yeah, go ahead, man. Or no, don't touch it. He like, okay, cool. Then he on about his business. Every now and then he'll get a little sad, like, oh, I want to listen to music. No, I said no, go do something else. Then he'll go on about his business, right? But we gotta do things with them, and then we gotta set boundaries, right? As parents, right? If we don't set boundaries as parents, then now we're looking to sue for mental health issues
Come on.
that our kids are running through.
And you said that, and that's the realest thing you could ever say. We're looking at mental health issues when we're really not parenting. Like
Yeah.
these kids are really showing this, like they're displaying mental health issues and outbursts because they haven't been told no. And
Yeah.
us as parents are responsible for that. If you're not telling your kid yes or no, and actually raising your kids and giving them understanding when you're going through it with them, then you're being irresponsible. You just can't tell them no all the time and not let them know why you're telling them no without giving them some understanding behind it. Like, because then they just start to resent you as a kid. I would. Like, if somebody just told me no all the time and they didn't explain anything to me, and then it's just my fault to figure it out.
Yeah, no, I do apologize, y'all, but we have problems. We also have solutions. And we out.
We got problems and we got solutions. Thank you for listening. To stay connected with us, like, share, and subscribe to the We Got Problems podcast. You can find us on social media platforms at Curtis Martin 247, at Rhonda Wrights Official, and at the_trash_vegan_.